Inside the Going Merry, each crew member had their own room. Usopp also shows off his artistic talents by designing a pirate flag.
Utilizzando il mio impareggiabile talento artistico, ho realizzato un nuovo Jolly Roger per la nave. Ta-da!
But of course Luffy doesn't accept it. Suddenly, Garp arrived in his doghead warship and launched an artillery bombardment at the Going Merry. In response, Luffy involuntarily called out to his grandfather. It turned out that Garp was Luffy's biological grandfather.
No.
When Luffy was a child, Garp had hoped to groom him to become a marine, but someone had influenced Luffy to aspire to be a pirate. Now, Garp's cannon firepower was astonishing, but Luffy used his special move to deflect the cannonball. Eventually, Luffy's counterattack damaged the ship's sails, allowing the Going Merry to escape Garp's pursuit. Afterward, Luffy and his crew unexpectedly arrived at the Baratie, a floating restaurant on the sea. The restaurant's owner was Zeph, and it had a skilled chef named Sanji. However, Sanji often cooked dishes not on the menu and was punished to work as a waiter. Sanji's legwork is so good that he can easily handle a small storm in a restaurant. He also met Luffy and his gang. Whenever he saw Nami, Sanji couldn't help but raise his eyebrows and be captivated by her. On the other hand, Garp's ship needs time to be repaired, so he calls someone to help him catch Luffy. The person he contacted was Hawkeye Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman and one of the 7 warlords of the sea, a group of powerful pirates authorized by the government. At the moment, Mihawk is fighting on the Great Voyage. His sword skills are terrifying. His masterstroke is a 2-part sword, the Great Black Sword Knight.
Un momento.
Ora basta!
Temo che sia ora di finirla.
Hai ucciso i miei uomini, distrutto la mia flotta. Che cosa ti ho fatto?
Mi hai svegliato dal pisolino.
Allora ti rimetto a nulla per sempre!
Duello finale molto deludente.
Mihawk single-handedly annihilated the Krieg pirates. Mihawk also promised Garp to capture Luffy. Meanwhile, Luffy, due to eating a massive meal without paying, was left behind in the restaurant to do odd jobs. However, he greatly appreciated Sanji's culinary skills. Sanji also told one of his 2 dreams. He wants to find All Blue, the mecca for chefs, which has all the ingredients of the 4 seas. Later, Sanji meets Jin, the only survivor of the Krieg pirates, and he often makes fried rice for the hungry Jin. Sanji has the principle of a chef not to let others starve to death. Luffy sees this and approves of Sanji even more and tries to get him on board. On the other hand, Nami is very confused. She likes the atmosphere of Straw Hat Pirates very much and wants to stay here, but Nami still carries other responsibilities or burdens. She purchased a ticket and planned to travel to her homeland alone. Later, Mihawk arrived at the Baratie. Upon seeing him, Zoro immediately challenged Mihawk. As it was revealed that Mihawk was Zoro's ultimate goal on his journey, Mihawk agreed to Zoro's challenge and promised to duel with him the next day. The night passed quickly, and morning arrived. At this moment, Zoro and Mihawk stood on a platform, ready to commence their duel. It's surprising that Mihawk only uses a small knife attached to his necklace, yet his strength overwhelms Zoro. He is capable of engaging in battles using just that small knife.
Indietreggi, eh?
Non direi. Sei forte. Combattere non è solo questione di forza.
Smetti di parlare e combatti!
Sei come una piccola rana che gracchia in un pozzo. Cra, cra, cra.
After a few rounds of fighting, Zoro is completely outclassed and decides to fight Mihawk in one move. Mihawk also holds a black knife as a sign of respect. In the end, Zoro was defeated by Mihawk, and he opened his arms for Mihawk to give him one last cut.
Sono la più grande vergogna per uno spadaccino.
Magnifico.
Mihawk had shown mercy, and he encouraged Zoro to train hard and strive to surpass him on the seas. Regarding Luffy's dream of becoming the Pirate King, Mihawk also expressed his acknowledgement before leaving, having given up on capturing Luffy. At this moment, Zoro slowly raises the Wado Ikemanji and swears to Luffy.
Adesso diventerò il più grande spadaccino. Non perderò mai più!
Next, Mihawk arrives on Garp's ship, where he refuses Garp's commission to his face and leaves in style. So Garp decided to arrest Luffy himself. Among the crew, only Zeph had some medical knowledge, and he reluctantly stitched Zoro's wounds. Nami chose to stay behind to look after Zoro, keeping him company during his unconscious state, and she tells Zoro stories. Zoro remained in a coma. This is where Luffy shows his captaincy by cleaning Zoro's Wado Ikemanji and preparing food for Zoro when he wakes up. As a captain, Luffy has the responsibility to take care of everyone. Sanji holds a great admiration for Luffy, and as a result, he shares his story with him about himself and Zeph. It turned out that Zeph was once a pirate captain. One day, they attempted to rob a ship, and Sanji was the chef on board. However, they encountered a storm and ended up stranded on a rocky outcrop. With limited food supplies, Zeph gave Sanji a small portion, reserving a large one for himself, claiming it was an adult's portion. They spent 70 days on the outcrop, and as Sanji finished his meager rations, he decided to steal Zeph's portion. To his surprise, Zeph's bag contained treasure, and Zeph had lost a leg during their ordeal. Zeph had sacrificed his food to save Sanji's life.
Io ho cercato il grande blu per tutta la vita, ma ora il mio tempo è scaduto. Noi condividiamo lo stesso sogno. Devi credermi, il grande blu esiste.
Entrusting his dream of finding the All Blue to him, 80 days later, they were rescued, and from that moment on, they all realized how precious food is. Back in the present, Arlong the Fishman arrives at the sea restaurant with two of his cadres, and his goal is to grab Luffy's charts. Arlong is the most powerful pirate in the East China Sea. With a bounty of 20 million belly, Arlong was able to find Luffy because the buggy's ears were glued to Luffy's straw hat. Following that, Arlong threatened Luffy, demanding the navigational chart, or he would destroy the Baratie. Even Zeph, the head chef, fell to the ruthless officer Karubi. Seeing this, Sanji stepped up to confront Karubi and was met with a powerful punch that sent him flying. Luffy, on the other hand, decided to protect the Baratie and face off against Arlong.
Gam Gam!
Unexpectedly, Luffy is at a disadvantage in the fight. Arlong possessed the immense strength and regenerative abilities of a fishman. He resorted to dirty tactics, using seawater to weaken Luffy throughout the fight, putting Luffy's life in grave danger. Just as Luffy was about to be killed by Arlong, Nami took out the charts. Nami agrees to follow Arlong away and tells Arlong to throw Luffy into the sea. Arlong took Nami with him. Luffy, who fell into the sea, was rescued by Sanji. After the incident, Zeph pretended to find fault with Sanji's job performance and urged him to leave quickly with Luffy. Meanwhile, the loss of Nami has left Luffy emotionally drained, and he comes to the unconscious Zoro with a forced smile and talk. Surprisingly, his words helped Zoro regain consciousness. Zoro swore to Luffy that he would always protect him. Luffy made the decision to go after Nami. As they departed, Sanji willingly requested to join the Straw Hat Pirates. to which Luffy excitedly agreed. Only Zoro's face changed. Then going merry set sail and left the restaurant. Zeph couldn't help but come out to say goodbye to Sanji.
Ehi, Sanji! Vedi di fare attenzione!
Addio, Jeff! Io ti devo la mia vita! Non ti dimenticherò mai, Jeff!
And so Sanji and Zeph said goodbye.